Yesterday was it. Aquatope on the White Sand has now officially concluded. What an incredible experience it has been watching Aquatope week to week. Even during my busiest weeks, I am still so thankful I took time out to watch that week's episode. I'll be talking more about Aquatope as a whole next week though. Let's focus on episode 24 for now. Before I move on, I do apologize to those who had been anticipating my Vivy video. It was uploaded Tuesday, but YouTube took it down this morning. I may appeal this as the entire claim is a little sus, so just sit tight. Now then, on to Aquatope. As expected, the episode had a slow build-up to the climax during the wedding, after which was the falling action and, finally, the resolution. This slow climb that Aquatope is best known for is, well, just that. Aquatope, I'd say, is best known for its story building. You know how there's the exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution of a story? Well, Aquatope stuck to that like glue and it made for a wonderful episode 24. Things started off with Kukuru literally dreaming about Gama Gama, and I'm going to briefly explain the irony in that. Gama Gama was Kukuru's dream from the start. She never gave up on it. Yes, there were a few times it seemed like maybe she was giving up, but notice how she always rebounds. Basically, what's going on here is a dream inside a dream, figurative and literal respectively. Even though Gama Gama may be gone now, Kukuru still holds her head high, which is testament to just how much she's grown. This is ironic because Gama Gama is in ruins from the demolition, but Kukuru is inside Gama Gama in her dream. The best way to describe this would be situational irony, but even that isn't quite what I'm trying to say. Regardless, you see just how complex this is? Now think about the alternative title to Aquatope. The two girls met in the ruins of a damaged dream. There's a lot here that can be applied to the anime as a whole, so that will be saved for next week, but you see my point. This episode was important for more reasons than just a dream, though. This was the episode the White Sand Dome finally opened, in which the very first wedding was held. I'll say it now, the Tingara wedding was gorgeous. Kukuru could not have done a better job of the planning, proposal, and implementation. Tingara's first wedding went off without a hitch. However, Kukuru had one more ace up her sleeve, and that involved the cards. Each card had a description of a different fish that was attributed to the qualities of each wedding guest. It was a great way to engage an older audience with the aquarium, seeing as interest may not be as keen as if they were children, but again, Kukuru's hard work was successful and it really paid off in the end. When you recall how distraught she was after the initial rejection of the proposal, compare it to now, you see just how much Kukuru has grown. It should be noted, this episode started off a decent ways ahead of last week. The first indicator is that Karin is now an attendant. There wasn't much word on whether or not she was chosen for the position, but I think she makes for a great fit. There's more I want to say here, but again, it's a next week thing. The second indicator is when Kai and Udon-chan meet Kukuru at the front entrance. Kai says his father is doing much better, whereas just a couple episodes ago, we learned his father was in the hospital needing surgery. Finally, Fuuka packing her bags after the wedding was over points to an unannounced time skip as well. This leads perfectly into this next chapter though. Last week, it was revealed that Fuuka was chosen for the Aquatope project, where she will study abroad in Hawaii for 2 years. Seeing her hold the handle of that infamous blue suitcase was heart-wrenching. The suitcase in general is symbolic too, indicating a new adventure, a new chapter in Fuuka's life. It was first seen in episode 1, again in episode 12, and for the last time in episode 24. All three were significant episodes though. Episode 1 introduced us to Fuuka, episode 12 was Fuuka's return to Tokyo, and this episode was her departure for Hawaii. You won't find a greater item symbolically than you will her suitcase. In episode 2, Fuuka admitted her dream was over. She was there to support Kukuru now. In episode 24, she finally made mention of it again, saying when she first arrived at Gama Gama, she had just lost her dream. However, look at how much meeting Kukuru changed her life for the better. Just as Graham said, it's hard to believe Fuuka is the same girl who fell into a tank way back in episode 2. She was inexperienced and was running away from her past. In a sense, she was exactly like Kukuru, not wanting to face the reality of the situation. While I can't say I can relate with Fuuka on that front, maybe to a degree, I do understand why she made the choices she did. Helping everyone fill the tanks this episode was the result of her continued growth, finding the heart to love something again. The decision to go to Hawaii to study wasn't an easy one, and no one can fault her for being uncertain at first. What's important to take away here isn't that she decided to go, it's that this time she won't stop fighting for her dreams. Troubles will come and go, but this time, Fuuka is ready to face them head on in order to achieve her future. While this next chapter is something I'd like to save for next week as well, I'll just expand upon it then. There was one more time skip this episode, and it was a lengthy one. Anyone who saw Kukuru's hair and the confidence in her voice immediately knew there was another time skip. 2 years had passed, and everyone had grown. While we did have episodes that focused more on one character than others, what makes this jump unique is that everyone was involved. From Kukuru to Kuya to Kai, everyone. Each and every character we were introduced to early on or midway through, they all had a dream. They all worked hard to achieve their goals, found hope in each other, and embraced the love of the marine life. Even the Kijimuna had a role to play in everyone's growth. PA didn't forget, and I figured it would be used to make a splash at the very end. However, I thought Bonchan would be what closed everything out, but it's unclear what happened to it. A bit of a plot hole, but I wouldn't call it a MacGuffin. PA used the shortened time they did with the final time skip to achieve a greater emotional appeal, primarily to finally conclude the Aquatope story. But it's with that conclusion that we can step back and see the bigger picture now. Look at how much Kukuru and Fuuka's worlds have expanded. Kukuru learned that work can be tough sometimes, but that there has to be a healthy balance between work and play. Fuuka learned that sometimes you have to go far away to grow closer together, the latter being very apparent during their final reunion. Just real quickly, let's backtrack to the airport scene. The first time Fuuka had to leave, she ran back chasing Kukuru down, episode 12. This was right at the official closing of Gama Gama. This time, Kukuru was able to wish Fuuka safe travels, and Fuuka gave just as cheery a "I'll be back." No more tears, no more sadness. This was the truest testament to the growth of both girls. In a way, it could be called their final test. Aquatope has done a wonderful job at presenting so many incredible life lessons such as this that I can easily say, this anime is one of the most unique I've ever seen. I'm sad to see it go, but that's another thing I learned from Aquatope. We have to be strong for the ones we love, because goodbyes aren't forever. Even the most damaged of dreams can become whole again. Wasting our time by wallowing in sadness will get us nowhere. Just like Kukuru, sometimes we need a break. When we come back with a fresh approach, we gain a greater understanding of the world around us. Thank you, Aquatope. It has been a wonderful journey these last 24 weeks now. A big thank you to Arcana project as well. I can't think of anyone better to have performed the opening songs for this anime. Aquatope would not be the same without the incredible passion and talent you have blessed us with. Arigato.